Okay, 12.5.1. I'm going to do a little test drive again. This is, again, my normal drive. I've been getting a lot of comments, a lot of questions and whatnot. It is great, so please feel free to keep doing that. Subscribe to the channel and let me know if there's anything else that you would want to see, any questions that you have, anything that, I don't do in a typical drive that you're curious about. So let me know and I'll try my best. So subscribe to the channel and leave it in the comments and I'll definitely try to get back to you. So here's just a normal drive again, and we'll see if we run into any issues at all, and we will see how it handles it. So I'm clicking it on now. There's a car coming. Oh, so that was, I would say, 100% not the right time to go. So that's a great start of this, which is, I was saying before, so I've been giving it compliments, right? Saying that, it's being a lot more confident. It's kind of making its decision on its turns, especially leaving a stop sign and whatnot. But I've been curious, and that's why I've been kind of giving this caveat to say, when it works, and it works well when it works. But that's kind of an instance where we were absolutely relying on the other driver slowing down. I mean, he could have, if he wasn't paying attention, he would have hit me for sure. So I've mentioned this before, and I'm going to say it again. There's an aspect of just hitting the pedal to push it through a decision when you feel it's safe. Even when, if I leave it alone, it goes slower than what I would like it to do, right? So that's a lot was happening on 12.3.6, right? It would be confused or extra cautious and take extra precautions, and you'd get irritated with that, and you'd give it a little bit of acceleration and you'd push it through that decision that it was going to make. When it doesn't allow you to make that decision, when it's making the decision on its own, which I have no doubt that at some point, between the cameras always looking and everything that I can see versus what I can see, that it may be able to make decisions quicker than me. But when it does it wrong, in a situation like that, it kind of makes the whole thing a little bit more scary. So now my whole opinion of it being confident on these stop signs has a big caveat attached to it, which is, did it pull up close enough? Can the cameras actually see what cars are coming? Because a lot of intersections, the stop sign, and where Tesla stops the car, which is a very weird and strict rule that it's following, where it decides to stop the car, which is like, a couple feet behind the stop sign, often you can't actually see if there's any cars coming. So if they get rid of the roll up, forward, and check, that it was doing in 12.3.6, there's a strong possibility that it can't actually see if there's a car coming, which is, what just happened, right? So that's interesting. I'm glad it happened on this drive and while I was recording it, because, honestly, I drive, I put it on for the most part, but if I'm having to make business calls and all that kind of stuff, I have to drive around quite a bit with the camera off. And of course, those are when incidents arise, so I can only talk about them versus actually show you guys. So in this case, it was actually caught on video, which is great. So we'll see if we have anything else. And this is a pretty simple drive. I mean, that's just a stop sign, stop and go. That's it. Make sure there's no cars and whatnot. I mean, that's something that we're going to run into every day, hundreds of times. So I don't, it's just one of those weird things. You can go from one day being like, oh, I love how confident it is, I love that it is making these decisions so much faster, and then a situation where you're pulling yourself in front of a car coming and you're like, oh, well, that's not great. So we'll see if there's anything else. notice the sheet on here, it's because I have a little dog partner here today. So I've actually taken this car on a few long road trips, and I've actually taken it camping a couple times as well, where we use the full camp mode and all of that. So if you guys have any interest in that kind of stuff, let me know in the comments. I'll make a link to me, a timestamp of me talking about this. But yeah, if you guys have any interest in camping or my experience, how much battery drain, whatnot it was in the Oklahoma area, and the other time was in New Mexico. But I have they make a bunch of mattresses that fit, so I have the memory foam mattress for, it's about 6, maybe it's even thicker than that, for the back, and it fits into the back perfectly. So the last camping trip I went, I actually, it was me, my girlfriend, and 2 dogs, one a little bit bigger than this, but 2 small dogs inside the car, and I can explain to you guys how that worked out. It was great. So that's the too long didn't read portion of it. But yeah, it was really, really smooth, really nice. The car keeps its temperature wonderfully. It didn't drain a crazy amount of battery or anything. Well worth it if you need that as a solution. So cheaper than a hotel room, that's for sure, and you get your whole camping aspect of it. So this it didn't do yesterday, and it's doing it today, which is good. So it's going around slower cars. I have it on assertive mode, so I would expect it to do that. Like I said yesterday, I didn't it didn't do it, and I was a little, it was curious because it normally does. But still, the auto offset as far as getting up to speed is, I touched the steering, or sorry, I touched the stock on another video where I made it get into a right lane to do the turn, and somebody made a comment saying, like, why didn't you let it and see if it does what it see if it does it wrong or does it correctly. And the fact is, and this is one of the questions I've been asking, is it really doesn't seem like, aside from conditions changing, I think that actually obviously affects it, right? Because it's gonna adjust based on cars on the road, and I think even lighting conditions, shadows, all that kind of stuff are going to affect its vision. But it doesn't seem to learn any driving techniques per drive in any way, shape, or form. So it doesn't, if I adjust it and stage it one way, or if it approaches a street in a certain way, it's pretty predictable that it approaches it the same way every single time. So there's definitely an aspect of the AI learning, but I'm still going to question how much learning it's doing per drive for your specific vehicle versus data it's sending back, and they adjust on a whole, because I haven't noticed per drive changes for much of anything, right? So if it's constantly going in the wrong lane, or the road's not marked properly, and it goes into a turning or a lane that's ending, this is one of those ones, like, which lane is it going to pick? So this guy definitely wants to go faster, and that's fine. We're going over the speed limit, so I'm not gonna, I wouldn't mess with that in this particular scenario. But if that guy was doing that or approaching me really fast and I was going below the speed limit, I would have intervened and given a little bit more acceleration. But you can't help if somebody wants to pass you going significantly over the speed limit. So no issues on that kind of stuff. And this time it definitely picked the lane. I said 12.3.6 would stay in that lane forever and wait till the lane ends and move over. There's a few lanes where it does it, and if we would have started in that lane, and this is one of those why I clicked the turn signal and somebody was asking about it, it's predictable, right? If we would have started in that lane and that lane was ending, it wouldn't matter if there was 400 signs down the road saying that the lane is ending. The car would take the lane all the way to the end, unless otherwise it needed to turn left immediately, or something like that. But it would stay in that lane. So, and this is one of the regressions I was saying from 12.4.3, or whichever that one was, but where it would stage this properly. We have a turn coming up, right? So it had an opportunity to pick which lane to go into, as the lane diverged into two, and it picked the left lane, which it doesn't really make sense for what we're doing. So anyways, we will that's an aggressive slowdown. So it does this really well sometimes, and then it does it poorly some other times. So that was really aggressive for a car turning. And other times it'll almost keep going at speed and like predict that the car is turning. So it's interesting that and I have to click that off because it was doing that wrong and different than yesterday. So interesting. Well, that's it for this video. I've already clicked it off, but I'll do another one and we'll go from there.